Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Josh Wonders Why. I'm here, as always, with Kelly, who seems to be, at this moment, healthy. I don't hear any congestion or anything, so...
Well, we'll find out.
We'll see if
I
it
have my
lasts the rest
coffee
of the
this
week.
time, so
Okay,
yeah, I'm getting better every day.
that's good. Well, good to see you again. It's been a week, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I was sick for 3 weeks. I got sick. I sent Tony a text on February 4th. I think I'm getting something. And now it's the 24th.
Well, you sound better,
So, thanks.
at least.
Yeah.
So hopefully it stays that way. So if you're watching us, Josh Wonders Why, and you're new to this is a weekly discussion we have on Mondays just about, anything that's on our mind. Religion, current events,
I can't get it to come up here.
food, whatever we want to talk about. Tonight, we will be wrapping up the discussion we've been having through the month of February as Black History Month. So I went online and found some trivia questions that I did not create, but I found some decent questions. Of those, I picked about 7 just to ask, and I'm going to ask our viewers and see what you think about the answers, and I have some more trivia about those answers. But also, as Kelly keeps reminding us, we have these universal yums that we get once a month now at least, right? And we're at least a month behind.
Yeah, we're getting behind, so.
We have this box. We're not sure what's in it.
Yeah.
We're going to find out live with you.
So exciting.
Hopefully it's
I'm nervous.
Hopefully it's all savory and not sweet, right? So what we'll do is I'll ask a trivia question. We'll poll the audience, and as you are all answering or figuring out the answer, we will taste one of these snacks.
Can we open the box now? Can we open the box now?
Yeah, we want to open the box.
Open the box.
You can open the box. So as Kelly's opened the
where
box,
it's from.
what we did from last time was we have these different faces to judge how we like it. So we have this is delicious, not sure, and I will never eat this again. So we will grade this for each of the foods that we eat. You're able to get it come up?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Da, 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 da. We're going to Spain.
Spain.
We're going to Spain.
So last month was Italy.
Yeah.
And this one is Spain. So it's
We're
keeping
going
the
to
European.
Spain.
I already see some interesting things. There's a picture of an egg, so I'm not sure what that means. But
I don't know.
So what we'll do is the comments, unfortunately, aren't coming up on the big screen. So Kelly
But I
will
got
be
'em.
monitoring the comments.
What's in the box? I know Ashley, right? All right. So we're going to Spain.
That was good. So why don't you pick the first one that we want to taste,
Okay.
and then as you're opening it, I will ask the first trivia question. So as I mentioned, I went online, found a good Black History trivia.
Because I'm just here for the snacks.
You are.
He
You're
had
here
to
for
do
the
all
snacks.
the work.
That's fine. So I'll ask, I guess like I said, there's 7 questions. I'm going to ask the audience. Put your comments in there if you're listening, if you have a good guess, and then we will monitor on them on the chat. I don't know if you'll get a prize for answering the questions right. Maybe you'll just get more respect from us.
That's
maybe
right.
A shout out.
You will
That's
get
what it is, a shout out.
respect. Yes.
And if you give us your address, we can send you the worst tasting food. How about that? Oh, you picked the one that had the egg on it. Well, that's perfect.
yeah.
Let's start off with a bang. So as Kelly's opened this up, I'll just get started with the first question here. Interested to get your thoughts. So the question is, in what year was interracial marriage legalized in the U.S.?
Ooh, that's a good one.
So I'll just leave it open for now. I want to see your guesses. It is multiple choice, but I want to start to see if anybody has any guesses on what year interracial marriage was legalized in the U.S. So while you're thinking about
Tony
that...
says, Cece, I am very intrigued.
So while you're thinking about that and put your comments, we will taste this.
This
What is
is
that?
Acho, A-C-H-O. I don't know.
Okay.
Now I feel like Achio chips. Fried egg flavored potato chips.
Fried egg.
Patatas fritas sabor a huevo frito.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me just
They
smell.
smell like potato chips.
They do smell like potato chips. Looks like a potato chip.
Yep.
Doesn't look like an egg, so that's a good start with.
Yeah, that's good.
Ooh. I can taste that fried egg.
Yeah, you can, like immediately.
Wow. That's probably a good representation of an egg. The best
That
one
is.
I've had. I don't know if I like the flavor, but I'm going to try another one.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. That tastes just like a fried egg.
It does.
That's amazing. I was not expecting it to be
It's
that.
like fried egg and hash browns all together.
Okay. What
All right.
do you think? Ready?
I would eat it again.
I'm so.
Yeah.
I could see it getting sickening, but I
Okay.
could probably keep eating it. But
Kelly gets to take those home.
there you go. Tony can try them too. That's good. Do you have any answers in the chat?
Yes.
Okay.
Tony. Oh, Ashley says 1950s. Susan says 1969. Tony guesses not until the 40s or 50s. And Mary says 1954.
Good answers. The closest one is actually 1967. So whoever said 1969?
Susan.
Good job. So I'll give
Yeah.
some more stats. So this is actually, so Mildred Loving was a woman of color, and she was living with her white husband, Richard Loving. They were sentenced to a year in prison in Virginia for their relationship in the mid-60s, I think, or maybe it was early 60s. After they were arrested, they went for a year in prison, and after that, the judge said, you have a choice, either banishment from the state or more prison. They chose to leave Virginia, but after several years, they asked the ACLU to take the case, and it went to the Supreme Court, and it was the Supreme Court did a ruling on Loving versus Virginia, and they favored in the case of Loving.
Mm-hmm.
So it happened on June 12th, 1967, and on that day, I guess you can celebrate what's called Loving Day, to celebrate the historical ruling of that Loving versus Virginia, where they said it was unconstitutional for Virginia law. And
Have you seen the movie? There's a movie based on that.
There is a movie?
Yeah.
No, I haven't. What's it
Has
called?
anybody seen the movie? I don't remember.
Loving versus Virginia?
No.
Okay.
I don't remember what it's called, and I didn't see it, but it looked really good. I'm just not like a big movie. But yeah, Tony said there's a movie about that.
Okay, there you go. You must have seen it together, apparently.
No, I have not seen it. I'm just not a big movie person, but I'll see like trailers for stuff like that and I go, oh, that's good. I should watch that. And then I don't.
And it's interesting, I guess I'll say this quote. The Chief Justice at the time, whose name was Earl Warren, wrote in the court opinion that the freedom to marry or not marry a person of another race resides with the individual and not with the state. So that helped change things and turn it into the direction we're in now. And I think they also used that when they decided on same-sex marriage recently. They used that case as an argument for that. So, interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Good guesses. I mean, you're all within the same, I'd say, 10, 20 years. Okay. What's the next snack you want to... I guess I'll let you pick the snacks out since I'm doing the trivia.
And you do the trivia.
That fried egg flavor is sticking with me.
Yep. What's the next question?
Okay. Next trivia question is... Who wrote Lift Every Voice and Sing, which is also known as the Negro National Anthem?
Oh, man. And I know the last name.
I guess the last name I will take. If you know the last name, you can put it in the chat.
At least, because one person wrote the music, one person wrote the words, right?
Yeah, and they were siblings. They were brothers.
Okay.
But I'll
I know the
discuss
last
more
name.
about that. Yeah.
Pretty sure I know the
If
name.
you know the last name, I will give it to you. So what is this?
This is like a party mix.
That's just a
or
party
something.
mix?
Well, no, but I'm like trying to give you all the different flavors in there.
What are the flavors?
This
It's
is
like
Puntazos Mix Cocktail de Snacks.
Okay. There you go.
So what it says, mix of toasted corn and corn snacks. This is right up my alley. I love corn. So
It says, roasted corn.
yeah, there's actual pieces of corn in
It
here.
says it's made from corn kernels that have been roasted or fried. Sounds crunchy.
Yeah, and then there's like little Fritos in here.
That is, yeah. So it's like little cheese things too. Cheese stars.
Cheese stars.
Probably crunching too much on them.
I know. Probably people are like, turn it down their volume.
We have any takers on the
It's called Loving. Ashley knows the movie.
Loving? It's just
2016
called
movie.
Loving.
It's called Loving.
Does anybody know who starred in that? Anybody famous? Do you know? Or Ashley, do you know? I can look it up. Do you have an answer to this question about lift every voice and sing? Were there any comments on lift every voice and sing?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. How do you feel about this snack mix?
I'm gonna say I guess I will continue to eat it. I think it's good.
I would eat it, but I love corn, so.
Yeah. It's healthy because it's made from a vegetable or a grain, right?
Yeah, corn. It's good for you. It's a vegetable, right?
Any takers on the question?
No.
How about you?
No.
What do you think is...
Last name is Johnson.
That's right.
There you go.
It was so it was written. So it was a hymn written as a poem by, at the time, the NAACP leader James Weldon Johnson in 1900. His brother John Johnson actually composed music for the lyrics, and a choir of 500 school children at the segregated Stanton School, where his brother James Johnson was the principal, first performed this song in public in Jacksonville, Florida, to celebrate President Abraham Lincoln's birthday. So, yeah, and I think it came on to, I guess the song was later adopted by the NAACP and prominently used as a rallying cry during the civil rights movement of the 50s and 60s.
Yeah. And Susan said it's in the United Methodist hymnal.
It is. I was wondering about that. Okay.
It is. Yep, it is. It's a beautiful song. I love it.
Yeah.
Was it last year or the year before that was sung before the Super Bowl?
That song?
And it got, people got upset because that's the Black national anthem. And
I remember there being some because I didn't realize it was that song. I remember there being some outrage or complaints.
yeah, I'm pretty sure it was that one. It's such a great song.
Yeah.
It sure is a lot more singable than the Star Spangled Banner.
A lot of things are, though.
True. True.
Okay, let's do the next trivia. So, next question I have is, what travel guide did African Americans use with publishing between 1936 and 1966? So there's your travel guide. What's the name of the travel guide that African Americans used between 1936 and 1966? I may even give
Never
you,
heard of that.
I'll give you multiple choice because it does give multiple choice. So the four choices are the Travel Expo, the Green Book, the Blue Book, or the Colored Traveler's Guide. What do you have next on this? Ooh,
Okay. Well, we got some gummies here.
look like circus peanuts right there.
No, because I would be skipping that. If I'm not eating circus peanuts. Those are just wrong. This is spicy mangoes gummy candy.
Does that have chilies in it too?
I don't know.
Looks like
It takes two to mango is what it says on the back.
Okay.
Let me see. I
We'll get your-
do not see anything spicy, but then you never know. Well, let's see if I can.
Oh, just give me a handful of things.
There you go.
Okay. They smell like mangoes.
Yeah, they do.
It's a little dark on the inside. I'm a little worried there's a chili on the inside. We'll find out.
Oh. It is spicy.
Is that the jelly? You think it's like a chili jam or something?
I don't know, but it's spicy in
It
my
is.
mouth.
Okay. Yeah, I think there's what kind of, it's like a circus peanut consistency.
No, it's like a gummy,
Oh, it's a gummy, but then there's a jelly in the inside or some sort
but
of.
it's all very gummy.
Yeah.
It's all very gummy. But it's very spicy. Okay. Well,
I don't know if it's very spicy.
For me.
It is. It hits. Yeah. It's
I
a
was
little
not
spicy.
expecting that. I was like, ooh, mango. But,
But it said spicy mango. What were you
Yeah.
expecting?
well, I was hoping that
Okay.
it wasn't going to be spicy, but
I'm gonna say so.
I'm
Really?
going to
Okay.
say nope. I do not like that feeling in my mouth.
Well, you need people to answer. Travel guide. What travel guide do the African Americans use?
Tony says the Green Book.
Tony is correct. It was the Green Book. So I found
How did you know that?
he's probably educated, right?
Well, he's very smart, yes. He knows a lot.
So it was actually published by a New York City mailman, Victor Hugo Green, from 1936 1967, and Green expanded. It started with a New York focused first edition, and then he expanded to cover much of North America, and it became the Bible of black travel during the era of Jim Crow laws, with open and often legally prescribed discrimination against African Americans and other non-whites was widespread. So Green wrote this guide to identify services and places relatively friendly to African Americans that they could find lodgings, businesses, and gas
Wow.
stations that would serve them along the road.
That's brilliant.
And it was little known outside of the African American community. Shortly after the Civil Rights Act of '64, the book was unnecessary, so they ceased publication after that. It fell into obscurity.
Tony says the Green Book is a movie. It's
Yes,
a
it is.
true
Yes,
story
you're
about
right.
pianist Dr. Don Shirley and his Italian driver.
That came out, I think, within the past 10
But is
years.
that,
It may
is
have
that
won
what it
some
has
awards.
to do with? Is
Yes.
the movie about the... Okay.
I think so, yeah, something like that. 'Cause
Alrighty then.
Yeah. But it's interesting that it was little known travel guide, but it helped people understand what businesses were friendly to African Americans.
And Sherry said she watched a documentary about it,
Yeah.
about the Green Book. Whew,
Still-
mouse on
I
fire.
picked something with chocolate to help
Okay.
melt that. So, next question I have is, what was the first historically black college and university in the U.S. to officially issue degrees to African Americans? And I'll give you the multiple choices. So, Shaw University, Lincoln University, Cheney University, or Howard University.
I have a guess, but I don't really know.
What do you have here? It looks like milk chocolate.
I don't know. It just looked like chocolate with hazelnut truffle filling.
Everything seems to have
I know
hazelnut.
hazelnut.
Yeah.
What's with the hazelnut?
Maybe it's Italian. Maybe it's European, right? Maybe it's just a famous.
I don't know, but I just want to get the space out of my mouth. So let's see here. We have 2 votes for Howard, which was my guess.
Okay. It's actually Lincoln University.
Oh,
Howard is also famous. I'll actually get to that later on. There's another question that's related to Howard. I probably
Okay.
just gave that away. But
Ah.
so first, what do you think? I think I enjoy this. I could eat this more.
I could eat that.
It's sweet, but it's hazelnut's not overpowering.
Right.
It's in the back.
It just tastes like chocolate.
So, I guess the oldest HBCU is Cheney. It was established in 1937. But the first degree granting HBCU is Lincoln University, which was established in Pennsylvania in 1854. So let's see. It was actually formed
Before, when was the Emancipation Proclamation? I thought that was 65.
66 or something, 65. Yeah. So it was founded by John Dickey and his wife, received a charter for the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, making it the nation's first degree-granting historical black university, or college university. So in October 1853, the Presbytery of Newcastle approved Dickey's plan for an establishment of an institute to be called at that time the Ashmun Institute for the scientific, classical, and theological education of colored youth of the male sex. In 1966 or 1866, it was renamed Lincoln University in honor of Abraham Lincoln. And at that time, Dickey then proposed to expand the college to a full-fledged university and to enroll students of every clime and complexion. So they added law, medical, theological studies were added to this College of Liberal Arts. And then white students were encouraged to enroll, and 2 graduated actually in the class of 6 men in 1868. So it was known early on as the Black Princeton due to its Princeton University educated founder and the early faculty and ties to the Presbyterian Church and similarities in colors and mascots. So one thing to note, Thurgood Marshall, who's the first black U.S. Supreme Court justice, he graduated from Lincoln University, along with Langston Hughes at the same time. So there
Cool.
you go. Just some factoids about Lincoln University.
Did you bring any napkins?
I did not. Are you making a mess? We
Well,
used to have tissues, didn't
the
we?
chocolate. Yeah, they're there. It's okay. I'm just licking my fingers like I'm just being rude at the table, I guess.
That's fine. Okay, next question we'll ask. I don't know if I'll give. I'm not going to give a multiple choice for this, but so there's a lady named Madam C.J. Walker, and she was the first African American female to do what, or was famous for what?
I know her. I mean, not like personally, but
And maybe I'll.
like
you know
I've
what?
read about her.
Maybe I'll give the multiple choice. So
Can I make a guess?
before people online guess.
Well, before you give the answers.
Yeah. Oh, before. Okay, sure.
Before you give the answers.
Sure.
I think she was a millionaire.
Okay, so Kelly thinks she's a millionaire.
And
The-
she also, there's a theater named for her in Indianapolis.
Really?
I think so.
Okay. So the choices you can pick from are self-made millionaire, She was the first female to graduate from an integrated high school. She was a self-made thousandaire, or she was the first African-American female to own property in Ohio. So there you go. Talk amongst yourselves.
Susan said a line of cosmetics or clothes.
Mm-hmm. That is correct too.
Really? There you go.
So yeah,
Susan said yes. I don't know if she's saying yes to. There's a theater name for her because I'm pretty sure.
So she is the first self-made millionaire,
I knew that.
African-American female.
Yeah.
So she rose from poverty in the South, and she was born in 1867. And then she was, in her adult life, she was struggling financially. She was facing hair loss and feeling the strain of years of physical labor. But in 1904, she began using another African-American businesswoman's, we'll say, I don't know, it's medicine called the Great Wonderful Hair Grower. But she joined this team of black women sales agents to sell this hair grower, we want to call it concoction. A year later, she moved on and she did start her own line of hair products and straighteners for African American women called Madam Walker's Wonderful Hair Grower.
Yes, there's a theater named after
Yep,
her, Indiana Avenue.
Because she relocated to Indianapolis, built a factory for her Walker Manufacturing Company, and then an advocate of black women's economic independence, she opened training programs in the Walker system for her national network of licensed sales agents who earned healthy commissions. And she ultimately employed over 40,000 African American women and men in U.S., Central America, and Caribbean. She also founded the National Negro Cosmetics Manufacturers Association in 1967. So her total worth topped $1 million around that time.
When was she born?
1867. And she passed away around 1917, 1920. So she was a millionaire back then.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what's Madam C.J. Walker?
Madam C.J. Walker.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, and Sherry said she had her own business of hair products for black women, and she was the first black millionaire. So, yeah.
That's amazing now by that time as well. I mean, that's...
I know.
To be a millionaire at that time.
Yeah.
That's like a billionaire nowadays.
Do you want... We got more chips, we got more cookies, and Let's
try some chips. I could use another savory one.
Okay. Well, I don't know about that. This is raspberry.
Okay, let's try raspberry. So
gourmet potato crisp raspberry flavor. Patatas fritas sabor frambuesa.
Interesting. So while you're opening that, I'll ask the next question. So we got 2 left. So this question is, what TV show is known for highlighting historically black colleges and universities where the students attended the fictional college called Hillman University?
I know.
Okay, well, Kelly knows. I'm not going to give since she knows, I'm not going to give the choices. See if you know what that is. I think if I gave the choices, it would give it away. So I'm going to try some raspberry chips. Curious to see if you can think of the TV show that highlighted the HBCU.
Actually, can't remember the name of the show.
Oh,
I know what it was a spin-off of.
Okay.
I'm just trying to remember the name. Well. That's interesting.
The raspberry flavor is very light.
Yeah.
You can taste it.
It's salty.
But it's not overpowering. I think it's, because I was worried because you just taste the raspberry, nothing else.
Okay, so we've got, Tony says The Cosby Show, and Susan says spin-off of The Cosbys, which I believe it's a spin-off.
It is.
Was it A Different World?
It was A Different World.
Ah.
So I believe the oldest daughter, Denise, is the one that then, I think because it's based off Denise Huxtable, then went to this historically black college. But here's some interesting things about that. It was a spin-off of The Cosby Show.
Ashley got it right.
Well, great. Good job, Ashley. So, followed the students at Hillman College, which is a fictional, historically black college university in Virginia. Cast members said real experiences inspired the series, many of which were drawn from Howard University. So I said that was a tie back to Howard. So, yeah, Howard was a blueprint for a different world. And then, let's see. So one thing is A Different World was credited. So this ran from 1987 to 1993. I didn't realize it was that, I guess, recent. I thought it was like going to be in the early 80s. But I guess if it's spin off of the Cosby Show, that didn't. Okay.
Yeah, because the Cosby Show started somewhere early 80s,
I think
mid
so.
80s.
Maybe that's what I was confusing with. I was confusing
Yeah.
with the start of the Cosby. So A Different World was credited for increasing awareness and enrollment for historically black colleges and universities nationwide. It inspired more students to choose those universities for their college experience. According to a CNN report, HBCU enrollment jumped 26% between 1976 and 1994, with nearly all of the increase occurring between 1986 and 1994, which is when A Different World was airing. Besides impacting enrollment, A Different World helped educate television audiences on controversial topics like date rape, HIV/AIDS epidemic, which at the time taken the lives of people working on the show, and to go in that. So it also aired a show on the eve of the Iraq War in the early 1990s that was meant on a commentary on the impact of the war on black young people, many of whom are often endangered on the front lines when the U.S. goes into military conflicts. So I found that really interesting. I guess I don't recall watching that. I probably did. It's probably on in the background, like when we were growing up, but I guess I was too young to probably know the significance of that at the time, I'll be honest. I sort of want to go back and watch this now.
Yeah.
Based off that.
Yeah. It's a funny show. It's comedy.
Yeah, I know.
But then they
yeah.
dealt with some serious things
yeah.
too. But yeah, I remember watching that. When it started, 87?
87 is when it started, yeah.
So that would have been my senior year of high school.
Yeah.
But I was a big Cosby Show fan.
Yeah.
So I watched that too.
Well, I think we have time for one more snack and one more trivia.
Okay, well, here's the thing. We got another corn snack, honey and butter flavor.
It's like popcorn, isn't it?
I suppose maybe we have like caramels, pistachio caramels.
Okay.
You're not big on pistachios. We have orange flavored cookie coated in dark chocolate, or we have mini lemon cookies.
There's one more behind the...
Oh, I was looking for that.
What is that?
It's a cookie, a Spanish walnut cookie.
Okay.
What do you want to try?
Let's try the Spanish walnut cookie.
Okay.
So the last trivia question for those of you watching. So a lady...
Oh my.
What's wrong?
It's very...
I picked the wrong one then. That's a little messy.
It's very soft. No, it's okay.
Do you have any napkins over there? I'm kidding.
Here, take that, please.
There
There we go. It's very soft.
It's very
okay.
gelatinous. Okay, so the question for you is the lady, her name is Alexa Irene Kennedy, was the first blank in 1981. And I'll actually give you the clues or the different choices. She was the first African-American woman doctor. She was the first African-American woman cardiologist. She was the first African-American OBGYN, or she was the first African-American woman neurosurgeon in 1981. So she was a doctor of some sort.
Yeah.
What was her field of...
Okay. This is very sandy.
It is.
It reminds me of something.
So they call that a cookie?
Mm-hmm.
Is that, I guess, it wasn't really cookie-ish. It was like more like a Fig Newton cookie.
Cookie.
Okay.
No, it doesn't really have a filling. There's a little bit of crunch to it. Let's read about it. The cookies originated as an Arab treat and became popular in Spain during the 12th and 13th centuries when the Moors ruled over the region. They're incredibly popular in modern Latin American cuisine.
Okay.
40% nuts.
So it's like a nut paste,
Yeah.
I assume. You can taste it. Tastes like
I
walnuts.
know. Yeah. I mean, I like it.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I'm going to say, I don't know if I eat it a lot, but I would, okay.
I would eat it again.
Yeah.
Okay, what are the choices again?
So Alexa Irene Kennedy was the first either African American woman doctor, woman cardiologist, OBGYN, or woman neurosurgeon in 1981.
Okay. Yes, I want more. MOOR. Ashley's guessing cardiologist. I'm going to guess neurosurgeon.
It's neurosurgeon is the answer. So it's an interesting story. She graduated from the University of Michigan in 1971 with a degree in zoology. And it was during her undergraduate studies that she attended a summer program in genetics for minority students and fell in love with medicine. She wanted to graduate the top of her class from the College of Medicine in the University of Michigan in 1975. And then she was eventually accepted as a surgical intern at the Yale New Haven Hospital in 1975, breaking another barrier as the first woman and first African American to be enrolled in that program. She began a residency at the University of Minnesota in 1967. Following a fellowship in pediatric neurosurgery, which actually was where she specializes in, is pediatric neurosurgery,
Wow.
at the Children's Hospital in Philadelphia, she returned to her home state of Michigan and joined the neurosurgery department at Detroit's Henry Ford Hospital. And at 36, she became the chief of neurosurgery at the Children's Hospital of Michigan. So she retired in 2001 and relocated to Florida, but it said that when she learned there were no pediatric neurosurgeons in her immediate area, she began to practice part-time at the Pensacola Sacred Heart Hospital, and then she officially retired in 2012.
Wow.
One thing that I found interesting is that when she was at her internship at the Yale New Haven Hospital in 1975, on her first day she was tending to a patient, and she said one of the hospital's top administrators passed through the ward, and as he went by, she heard him say, "Oh, you must be our new equal opportunity package." So, found that interesting, for this day and age with
Well,
focus
I
on
was
DEI
just
and
going to
everything,
say, when
right?
you finished, I was going to say, this is why we have DEI.
Yeah.
Because how long did it take for a woman of color to get accepted into a medical program?
And if you think of all the kids she probably saved over that 36-year career, plus 10 years in
But,
retirement, right?
how many,
yeah.
and it goes back
Exactly.
further to that, how many people of color, how many women did not get into colleges because of the color of their skin or their gender,
Yeah.
It goes back to that as well. Or who didn't have the generational wealth to afford school. Oh my goodness, I don't want to get on my soapbox here, but that is exactly what I was thinking, that,
Yeah.
and for somebody to come along and say that.
Yeah. That's why I kept in there. Just reading through it, it chimed with the times of today, right?
Yes. Yes.
Well, that was interesting.
Ashley says, I can only imagine what she experienced going through those programs.
Yeah, I think that, let's see, there's another quote I think I was looking at. No, maybe it's not. But she's quoted as saying, "The greatest challenge I faced in becoming a neurosurgeon was believing it was possible." I'm sure there were so many things threw in her face and threw at her to tell her to not do it. I just imagine, like we talked about with the 6 women we highlighted a couple of weeks ago, they all, essentially were told they couldn't do this, and rather than giving up, they found a way around this and push forward, which is amazing.
Fun fact, there are a lot of hymns that were written by women, but men took the credit for them.
Really? Mm-hmm. Do you have any examples? I'm curious.
No.
So you're going to throw that fact out there, and you're not going to give us an example.
It just came to my head. I was just like, oh yeah, and another thing.
Where you got to back it up with something, and you can't just throw that out there and leave us hanging.
I know.
Maybe someone watching us knows what the hymns are.
Yeah, I can't. It's been so long since I read that book. But
which book are you talking about?
I don't know. It's a book about women in church music, in hymn writing, I think. I don't know, or it was about hymns in general. I don't know, but anyway, there were women. They were very prolific in writing hymns.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they would like sell them for a pittance, to men who would then publish them
And take
in
credit.
their name.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, it's kind of like women who wrote under a man's name
Yeah.
just so they could get published. This is why we have DEI. DEI is not about, making sure there's the right number of white people and black people or,
Yeah.
it's not about that. It's about making sure everybody who's qualified has the opportunity to be considered for
Yeah.
things, because for so long, it was just like, it's just been so long for women and people of color to be able to even get their foot in the door,
Yeah.
So
We even
that's what that's about.
Well, we talking about it. I think I read this that's the reason why J.K. Rowling. That's what she put her name down for the Harry
Right.
Potter series, because
Yeah.
I think either she wanted to do it or a publisher said if you list your name as a female, they're not going to want to buy a science fiction book or a fantasy book from a female author. So she put
Yeah.
J.K. Rowling, right? Just so it doesn't
And there you
cause
go.
that bias.
And look,
Yeah.
the rest is history.
So you think we'd learn our lesson after a while, right?
You would think so.
We as a society, not just we. Okay. But
DEI allows for more qualified people, not less. Correct.
Yeah.
I agree. Yes, I'm always amazed. Ashley says also, I'm always amazed by people who don't back down despite constant opposition. That's the thing, the people who,
oh yeah.
man, keep going and keep pushing, and it's exhausting to think about.
Yeah. It's amazing. They're the most resilient people. Those, they have this hard stock to set against them. That's yeah.
Yeah, and you think it wasn't that long. I saw a Facebook post about, it listed the years, like when women could own a home or women could have their own bank account, and, all like mid 20th century into even later. I can't remember all the things, but, it took so long for women to have equality. And it's just mind-boggling. It wasn't that long ago.
Well, I was amazed. I listened to a podcast. I'm gonna be, because I can't remember the specifics, but I believe they didn't pass. There wasn't a federal rule against domestic violence until like 1994. So I think there was maybe some two women that like went and just pushed Congress, and they actually worked with them to pass the law. But I think that it still was a struggle because it kept it broad or vague as far as what's a domestic violence and what's not, right? And it's sort of, but I think it just bogged my mind that it wasn't until 1994. It's like, really, there was nothing against
Yeah,
protecting
well,
women
for a
until
long
that
time, it was like, well, the husband can do whatever he wants to his wife.
Yeah.
There's no, it's not rape if they're married.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. And kind of along those lines, the Americans with Disabilities Act was passed in 1990.
Yeah,
that was not
that's
very
crazy.
long ago.
Yeah.
And that can be overturned like that.
Oh yeah.
And that's kind of in the same vein as, the DEI stuff, that you don't realize what it includes until it includes you.
Yeah.
And if you live long enough, you're going to be disabled in some way.
Yeah.
So.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Well, fun discussion.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching us tonight. Thanks for all the great answers and discussion on the trivia. I think this was a pretty good box overall. There was nothing like, I don't think I did green. I think you did green a couple times, but nothing that was totally out of the ordinary.
I just didn't like the gummies because they were spicy.
Enjoy those fried egg chips.
Yeah. We will.
Well,
it's a good breakfast. It's a breakfast food. I think Tony said that.
Good, yeah. Well, thanks for watching us. We'll be back live on Thursday, assuming Kelly stays healthy.
Yep.
And is on the up
I
and
will.
up. We'll be back for Digging Deep, and then we'll be back again next Monday for another Josh Wonders Why. And if you missed it this morning, you should catch the Coffee with Kelly. Some technical difficulties. We'll just blame Facebook for all the difficulties, but you had to repost it to the Facebook
Yeah,
group.
it posted to my personal page. I have no idea. I did it the same way I do it every Monday, and I couldn't find it until well, maybe it's on my there it was. So I, kind of moved it over, and yeah, we need to talk about my technology, because the first, 2-3 minutes, I'm like trying to figure out, I'm like scrolling. Am I on? Am I on? Hi, can you hear me? So we'll need to talk about that.
We can work through it.
Yeah,
we'll get it worked out. Well, thanks again for watching us. Hope you have a good rest of your night. Hope you enjoyed this a little bit. And then we'll catch you next time. Have a good rest of your night.
Bye.